Thank you. Thank you, everybody. My name is Louis Leuven. I'm the Executive Director of San Francisco Fleet Week. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2023 San Francisco Fleet Week Kickoff Press Conference. We have a number of distinguished guests that will be introduced to you today, each one of whom will provide important information about this year's event. I cannot go on without acknowledging the Fleet Week community's sadness over the loss of our founder and honorary co-chair, Senator Dianne Feinstein. Senator Feinstein was an enthusiastic leader and advocate for San Francisco Fleet Week, and her presence at this annual celebration of the men and women serving in our military will be greatly missed. With that, I would like to say that the Fleet Week Air Show, thankfully presented by United, will feature not only the Blue Angels and their fantastic performances, but also in honor of Senator Feinstein, a special Missing Woman Honor Formation performed by the Patriots Flight Demonstration Team. And I hope that everybody can be down at the Marina Green on Saturday and on Sunday to witness that special honor. Other great events abound, including the Expo, which contains the Humanitarian Assistance Village and the STEM Education Center, along with the Career Center, down on the Marina Green. And this year, Fleet Week will present over 30 military band concerts. We've taken Fleet Week off of the waterfront for the last few years and really engaged with our neighborhood and the community of San Francisco. The Fleet Week Neighborhood Concert Series, which is being presented by Avenue Greenlight and the San Francisco Council of District Merchants Associations, takes place all week. These neighborhood concerts allow our communities to engage with our troops and at the same time activate economic activity throughout San Francisco. On Monday, October 9th, at Golden Gate Park, we will have 4 high school bands competing for the Loop Convenience Store's $10,000 grand prize. And every high school that shows up gets some prize money as Fleet Week tries to help the high school music programs throughout the greater Bay Area. The myriad of community events highlight San Francisco's commitment to Senator Feinstein's vision of welcoming our troops and celebrating their commitment to our country. Please download the Fleet Week app or visit our website, fleetweeksf.org, to learn more about 2023 San Francisco Fleet Week. And with that, I invite one of our most steadfast and enjoyable supporters, someone whose commitment to our troops, veterans, and Fleet Week has been strong and unwavering, our Mayor, London Breed.
Thank you, Louis, and thank you to all of the folks who are here to celebrate Fleet Week in San Francisco. But it is extra special this year because we are so honored to have our Speaker Emerita and San Franciscan Nancy Pelosi joining us here today, an incredible force in this city and in this country. We are so grateful to our Navy Secretary, Del Toro, for joining us here. Thank you so much, Mr. Del Toro, for your commitment and support of our country and our Navy forces, as well as welcome back to our Admiral Rosen. Thank you for being a part of this festivities, and so many of our men and women who serve our country, from the Navy to the Marine Corps to the Coast Guard, who continue to do all you can to be a force in this country and to continue your incredible relationships with the city and county of San Francisco, working with our local jurisdiction to make Fleet Week not only exciting for so many people to be a part of, but the emergency preparedness and what that means with our police chief, Bill Scott, and Janine Nicholson, our fire chief, and thank you to our assistant sheriff, Carter, for being here, as well as the other speakers that you're going to hear from today. I want to take this moment to pause and to reflect. Louis has already said it. This Fleet Week activity that exists in San Francisco since 1981, when I was hardly born. Our then first woman mayor of San Francisco, Dianne Feinstein, who loved the military who loved the Navy in particular. San Francisco was a place, too, where ships were repaired, and there's so much history and legacy that existed with the shipyard and our various military bases that exist all around us. Then Mayor Feinstein brought Fleet Week to San Francisco. And it was, not without its hiccups. Nevertheless, she persists. And she moved this program forward, and it went from the Blue Angels and the spectacular thing that they do in the air with the San Francisco skyline to more buildings and even more incredible skyline with our bridges, but the parade of ships, the bands, and including our high schools. And in fact, I played French horn, so I'm really proud of that. And I played for Dianne Feinstein when I was in middle school. And so it's a full circle for me because this is really a part of her legacy, her vision for San Francisco to be a showcase for the rest of the world. But more importantly, to remember that public service is really an honorable profession. And the people who put their lives on the line every single day to protect this city, this state, and this country should be recognized and should be honored and should be appreciated and on full display. So I appreciate the fact that we are here celebrating Fleet Week, celebrating San Francisco, and celebrating the incredible legacy of Dianne Feinstein, who made all of it possible. We are grateful to continue this incredible work. I see that General Myatt is joining us here today. Thank you so much for all of your work to make sure that this time-honored tradition continues in San Francisco for generations to come. So thank you all for being here. We look forward to, as I said, the various band performances all across San Francisco. So you do not be surprised when you see a band performance pop up in our various neighborhoods. We're taking Fleet Week from the Bay all into the bowels of our city. And the competition with the high school will be extraordinary. The parade of ships will be fascinating. And it will be all topped off this weekend with the extraordinary performance of the Blue Angels. And I can't wait. Thank you all so much for coming here. And at this time, as I said, emergency preparedness is also an important part. San Francisco was the first city to incorporate emergency preparedness into Fleet Week. And the person who will tell you a lot about what we need to do to get prepared, not if, but when the next big one comes. San Francisco is earthquake territory, but that is no other than the director of the Department of Emergency Management, Mary Ellen Carroll.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I'm Mary Ellen Carroll. I'm so happy to be here as part of the kickoff. I also just want to acknowledge the passing of a lioness, as she's been described, who paved the way for all of us, and how humbled I feel to share the stage with these lionesses up here, with our speaker, with our mayor, and with our port director. It's really not only humbling, but kind of a dream come true, and I feel so proud to share the stage with him. I just want to say, yes, emergency preparedness is what I geek out on about Fleet Week. So yesterday, in this very spot, we had the culmination of a year-long process of developing and testing and doing an exercise around our communications. And as I was talking with some of our military partners, sometimes when the ship comes, we roll out a lot of beautiful and exciting toys, tanks or amphibious, assets. But this year, we really went behind the scenes and did a technological and communication drill. And the fact is, without doing that kind of drill, the toys aren't going to work very well. So this exercise, really, General Myatt, I give you so much credit for leading the way here in San Francisco and helping us to be a leader in the country in making the most and leveraging the partnership and the event of Fleet Week every year. We have come so far, and we've been very fortunate that the earthquake has not happened, but we know it will. And the partnership with our state partners and our military partners is critical. I want to thank all the city folks that were here, fire, police, our Department of Technology, our transportation agency, everything that we're going to need in the event of a major disaster. San Francisco is nothing if it's not resilient. And we are, and we show over and over again that we rise from the flames, and we will again, but we need to prepare in order to be able to do that effectively. So I just want to thank everyone. I welcome everyone to San Francisco. We hope you have a wonderful time. Stay safe, and we'll see you out on the streets. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Elaine Forbes, the Port Director of San Francisco. I'm so honored to be up here today. I want to recognize my commissioner, Gail Gilman. Thank you for coming today. We're talking about the importance of preparedness and what preparedness really means and what it means to have relationships and understandings and practice for preparation. And I've been reflecting also on the passing of our great Senator Dianne Feinstein. And I've also been reflecting on our great mayor, London Breed. And it's obvious to say, last time I quipped that women are better prepared. I won't make that same joke today, but it's obvious to talk about the importance of these two great mayors, one who brought Fleet Week back and the other who returned the first in-person Fleet Week after she led our city safely through a pandemic. This is the obvious. And then the not so obvious. In 2018, the late Senator Feinstein was made aware that our seawall faced urgent earthquake risk and impending sea level rise risk, major impacts to the city, flooding over 500 acres of neighborhoods. And our beloved senator worked with the Army Corps of Engineers along with Speaker Emeritus Pelosi and ensured that this city received a first start from the Army Corps of Engineers, one in only 3 of the nation that year. That same year, our mayor, after her first election, decided to take up the seawall bond, $425 million, to ensure that we were getting prepared for earthquake to build a stable foundation on which to protect our city. Now, the sea services, we know resilience is about people, policies, training, and it's also about our infrastructure and assets. And at the sea services, we're all on the front end of climate change, just like our port here. And I want to recognize that we're going to have a program for this from the Army Corps of Engineers to protect for flood, and we're going to work on that with earthquake for our entire 7.5 miles of waterfront. So that's what two leaders being prepared means behind the scenes, and that will be generationally important for us. So I wanted to recognize that preparedness today leads to other very important efforts, and the leadership on preparedness is important for today, tomorrow, and deep into our future. So with that, I'd like to thank the amazing legacy of our late Senator Dianne Feinstein on this waterfront that will go into generations, and to thank our heroic mayor, London Breed, with gratitude for your leadership. Happy Fleet Week. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Director Forbes, and thank you, Mayor Breed, for inviting the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard to celebrate with you here at Fleet Week. We weren't sure we were actually going to make it this week, but luckily, fortune shined upon us, as did Mother Nature, with this beautiful weather that we are supposed to have for the remainder of the week, and we are super, super excited to be here. On behalf of the United States Sea Services, I extend my sincere thanks to the residents of San Francisco. For 42 years, you have welcomed sailors, Marine, and Coast Guard and made us feel as if we are part of the San Francisco family. San Francisco has earned a well-deserved reputation as a legendary port visit, and there are generations of sailors and Marines who have stories that start off something along the lines of, "Remember that time when we visited San Francisco?" And I suspect that some of those stories might even be true. But what is definitely true is this: San Francisco sets the gold standard for all of the Fleet Weeks that the Navy participates in across the country each year. And we hope that our participation matches your extraordinary efforts. So thank you. This week, Navy Band Southwest and the 1st Marine Division Band will perform 39 concerts in the neighborhoods across the city. Our uniformed personnel will be pitching in to help the communities where they're needed most. And of course, the Navy's flight demonstration team, the Blue Angels, will perform during the San Francisco Air Show. We sincerely hope that you're able to join us. And now, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce my boss, the Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Carlos del Toro. Secretary del Toro was born in Havana, Cuba, and at the age of 1, he and his family emigrated to the United States. He grew up in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of New York City and graduated from my alma mater at the United States Naval Academy. He spent 22 years in uniform and retired with the rank of commander. He then ran a successful private sector business for 17 years before answering their call and returning to government service as the current Secretary of the Navy. Honored guests, please welcome the 78th Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Carlos del Toro.
Thank you, Admiral Rosen. Thank you for keeping the introduction very short. Good morning, San Francisco. Oh my gosh, you know, I have about 400 to 500 chaplains that work for me in the Department of the Navy and Marine Corps. And yesterday I asked them, I said, chaps, I need you all to pray for good weather for San Francisco Fleet Week, and they came through. It's good to know they've still connected. Good morning, everyone. It is wonderful to be with you here in San Francisco. What a beautiful city, my gosh. But regretfully, as has been mentioned, we gather this week in San Francisco Fleet Week. We do so for the first time with the mournful recognition that one of its founders, U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein, is no longer with us. Throughout her time as mayor of this great city and in the United States Senate, she was always a fervent supporter of our Navy and served as a co-sponsor of the USNS Harvey Milk TAO 206, which we accepted into our fleet this past July. The motto of USNS Harvey Milk is courage and conviction, which aptly describes how the late senator approached her work every day during her 40-plus years of public service, fighting for the rights and liberties of all Americans. As our nation mourns the loss of the senator, our Navy will continue to honor her and her legacy of service to our great nation throughout this year's San Francisco Fleet Week. Now, many of you know, as was mentioned, that I was born in Cuba, raised in New York City, and live in Virginia. But what you don't know is that I also honeymooned here with my wife 40 years ago in San Francisco. And I love this city beyond measure. Later during my naval career, when we were stationed in Monterey and San Diego, my wife and I would frequently travel to San Francisco with our children to enjoy its many wonders, including that incredible zoo that you have here. We have so many fond memories, and I am now thrilled to be back as your Secretary of the Navy. Mayor Breed, thank you for welcoming our sailors and Marines to your city this week with tremendous hospitality that you have shown us and will continue to show us this entire week. Speaker Pelosi, thank you for your service and leadership in the United States Congress and for your tireless advocacy for not only the people of San Francisco, but also for all our service members across all military services in the Department of Defense. Admiral Rosen, Mr. Loven, thank you for your leadership and commitment as the organizers of Fleet Week, along with you, Major General, for making this week possible, especially given the period of uncertainty that our nation faced just last week. Since 1981, San Francisco Fleet Week has been a highlight for our Navy, allowing our uniformed personnel to share their stories of service with the citizens of San Francisco, whether they're true or not true, deepening the bonds between our Navy and Marine Corps and the American public that we actually serve. As I witnessed the interactions between our sailors and our Marines and people of San Francisco just yesterday, I could not help but reflect on the city's rich maritime heritage, dating back to the 1840s. Since its founding, San Francisco has always been a maritime city, enabling the flow of commerce into and out of our nation, supporting our economic growth for over 160 years. And since the turn of the 20th century, San Francisco has been a Navy town as well. Throughout this city's storied history, San Francisco has supported our Navy in both times of peace and periods of conflict as one of our nation's center of shipbuilding and ship repair. Notably, during World War II, the shipyards of Hunters Point and Mare Island and Vallejo built over 2/3 of Liberty ships that moved our personnel and supplies across the entire Indo-Pacific. And for decades, San Francisco has been home to the Suisun Bay Reserve Fleet, which at one point contained over 2,000 ships in ready reserve status. Our Navy's footprint throughout the city may have decreased over the years, but San Francisco's support of our Navy remains as strong today as ever before. As our nation now embraces a more robust national maritime statecraft, this administration and our Navy remains committed to an ever more lethal Navy and Marine Corps team. We remain committed to building an even more capable Navy with 56 ships under construction and 87 under contract. We remain committed to greater commercial shipbuilding, exploring the art of the possible for additional smaller shipyards across the country, like Mare Island here in San Francisco. And I visited yesterday and I was very impressed by what I saw. And together, we will work to ensure that our Navy and our Marine Corps remain the most powerful force and fleet the world has ever seen. In that spirit today, I am pleased to announce that in honor of this city's naval legacy and in honor of Senator Feinstein's service to our nation, we will be welcoming again a USS San Francisco into our fleet once more. USS San Francisco, SSN 810, once commissioned, will be our nation's newest Virginia-class nuclear-powered fast attack submarine. It will follow in the wake of 3 prior USS San Franciscos, all 3 of which played a critical role in defending our nation and promoting peace and stability around the globe. Our next USS San Francisco will build upon the legacy of her namesakes and will no doubt represent the people of this city and our nation with honor wherever she may sail. I am also honored to announce that the ship's sponsor for USS San Francisco will be Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, for whom we are grateful to have joined us this morning. Speaker Emerita Pelosi, thank you for agreeing to serve as a sponsor of this mighty submarine and its crew. According to naval tradition, a ship's sponsor's spirit and presence guide the ship and its crew throughout its time in service, serving as the bond that connects the ship to its namesake. For over 35 years, Speaker Pelosi has represented the people of San Francisco with honor and distinction in the United States Congress, and has served as a staunch advocate for our national security and the promotion of our democratic values here in the United States and around the entire world. She is a champion for justice and equality to ensure that every American is afforded the dignity and respect that they deserve. And she is a passionate supporter of our service members and this city, making her the perfect ambassador to share San Francisco's history and culture with the crew of the future USS San Francisco. To the citizens of San Francisco, I thank you for welcoming our sailors and our Marines to your great city again. May God continue to grant our nation and our people fair winds and following seas. And now it brings me great pleasure to introduce the person who made history in 2007 when she was elected the first woman to serve as Speaker of the House, the person who has represented San Francisco honorably for more than 35 years, Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, for your very generous introduction, for your great leadership, and for your patriotism, and for your appreciation of the greatness of San Francisco and our connection to our men and women in uniform. Madam Mayor, congratulations on today. A ship named for San Francisco, pretty exciting as we continue, as you launch Fleet Week once again. It is, as we have said, thank you also to everyone who is here. To Rear Admiral Rosen, thank you for your kind words about our community. Elaine Forbes, Lewis, where'd he go? And also Mary Ellen Carroll for preparedness. When Mary Ellen talks about preparedness, it's not just about how we will be prepared. It's about and how resilient we are. It's how San Francisco is a model to the country, to the world, about being ready. And being ready is what we are in all that we do, whether it's our security, personal, national, and the rest. So it really is quite an honor to be here today. We gather in great sadness, though, with the loss of our Senator Dianne Feinstein. She was the longest-serving woman in the United States Senate. And I think that the mayor will allow me to say that Dianne Feinstein, while the longest-serving woman senator, is also a forever mayor of San Francisco, because that's how she always thought about it. You know that most people know who the mayor of the city is, and they know who the president of the United States is. The rest of us are sort of in between there someplace. So she is carried in the hearts of so many people. I said at an event, and I will say a couple of days again, that when she was mayor for such a long time, 10 years, after other people started to run for mayor following her term limit, little children were saying, "Oh, can a man be a mayor of San Francisco?" So she did this with great poise and purpose, coming into office in such a sad, tragic way. Grace and grit. You know that about her. And resolve and respect for so many people. This is a very generous and lovely person. The love she had for the city and San Francisco, her state of California, and our country really was legendary. And so, for many reasons, here we are today. Not only was she a great, proud patriot and champion of national security, as has been mentioned, she launched the first Fleet Week in 1981, before the mayor was born, or just around the time. In doing so, she gave us a cherished opportunity, not only to celebrate our city, but to salute our men and women in uniform. It's so wonderful to be here, not only with our Secretary of the Navy, but also the rank of the Navy, the leadership of the Navy that is here, but also the Coast Guard and the Merchant Marine. I've been to many christenings, and when I have the U.S. Coast Guard Pike, so in my office, everybody who comes in there sees the Pike, and our neighbor right here in the bay in such a substantial way. As far as the Merchant Marine is concerned, as part of the ceremony when we christened John Lewis's ship, a Merchant Marine ship, and they told us that day that percentage-wise more people in Merchant Marine were killed in World War II than any other service. You might not realize that, but they facilitated our war effort and lost so many lives as well. And I say the Navy, the Merchant Marine, the Coast Guard, I say that with great pride about the seas, but I also have 4 brothers in the Army, so we had a thing about the Army-Navy game and and the rest of that. But getting back, and speaking of football, it was so beautiful to see Dianne saluted at the 49er game with a beautiful tribute to her patriotism and her support for the 49ers. And as soon as the tribute ended, they played the national anthem, which was so really very beautiful. She would have loved it, as well as she will love, and I know she will see, the missing woman process, whatever you call it, on Saturday. Formation on Saturday. Oh, wouldn't that be it, Madam Mayor? Wouldn't Dianne just love that? She's missing in the formation, but she's always in our hearts. She was just remarkable. And so that's why it's such an honor to be here, not only for the sponsorship of the ship and the announcement of this naming, but also that the Fleet Week will be dedicated to Senator Dianne Feinstein this week. It is it's quite remarkable to hear all that's going into the neighborhoods, Mayor. I salute you for that, because that makes us all a part of it. And what better thing could we do than the arts in the schools for the children to reach their fulfillment as you played the French horn, and look at the confidence it gave you. So this is, the moms are always saying, arts in the school, thank you for tying that up to Fleet Week as well. You know, our connection is substantial. We could talk all day, and you probably think I will about it, but This ship behind us, this is the Jack Murtha. I was there as the highest ranking person in our country for the christening in Mississippi, and then for the commissioning in Philadelphia. Is that not quite a ship? The Jack Murtha. Jack Murtha worked for with Dianne Feinstein. We were doing the Presidio and Hunter's Point and so many other things because he was the chair of the committee that had the defense money. That's a pocket we like to put our hand in because that's where the money was. In any event, Harvey Milk. We were here for the naming of Harvey Milk, and to see his white hat, his gloves, all of the recognition that he had served in the Navy. It was wonderful that a ship was being named for him, and I've seen it in when we were there for John Lewis. They were about to be ready for the Harvey Milk christening, and that he served in the Navy. Not just he was a hero in so many other ways. He served and took pride serving in the Navy. So our connection is personal, official, patriotic, and the rest. General, it's always wonderful to see you as one who served on the Veterans Memorial Board in every possible way to support our men and women in uniform. Thank you for your leadership, General Mott. Okay, so now I'm just going to not sing, but end with a song. This is my favorite part of America the Beautiful. It says, it's a fourth verse, so they don't always get it in it. Oh, beautiful for patriot's dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam undimmed by human tears. I've always believed that San Francisco is that alabaster city, its magnificent patriotism shining through, never more so than during Fleet Week. So this is a very special time. It's fitting that a ship bearing our city's name will once again help protect America from sea to shining sea, and I'm honored to be the sponsor of it. And also just close by once again not only remembering but heralding the great leadership of Senator Dianne Feinstein. Let's get on with this naming. Thank you.